ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
Could have been with me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to Sunday Night Football overtime. Bucs, Patriots, the prodigal son makes his triumphant return home. We knew about all the buildup and the hoopla surrounding this game. It was circled on the calendar when the NFL schedule was released. Brady versus Belichick, Bucs versus Patriots, and then the rain came. And I thought it put a bit of a damper on this game. You didn't see the fireworks offensively. At least I thought that this was going to be a bloodbath. I thought that the Patriots were going to be destroyed by the Buccaneers. Not having Gronk really hurt the Buccaneers, but that's not the reason this game ended up being 19-17 and going down the wire, essentially. That Patriots defense was outstanding in this game. The rain definitely had a little bit of a say-so as to how the game was called and how things were executed. But let's not kid each other. Brady was coached by Bill Belichick for 20 years. If anybody knows Brady's weaknesses and knows how to at least slow him down, not necessarily stop Tom Brady, but slow him down, it was going to be Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots staff. So they were going to be prepared to at least slow Tom Brady down, and that they did tonight. He was not efficient from a passing standpoint. The numbers aren't there, but at the end of the day, the end result is all you care about. And I always talk about this when teams get ugly wins. It's gritty, okay? It wasn't pretty, but it was gritty, and most importantly, it was a dub. We're not going to be talking about what this score was or how this game looked 5 weeks from now. You're just going to put this brick in the left-hand column, and you just keep it moving, okay? The Bucs will keep it pushing. They'll see if they can get a win next week. And likewise for the Patriots, they're upset. They missed an opportunity here to get a win. This is how the game had to be played for the Patriots to have a chance. It couldn't be 34-30 and the Patriots win. It had to be exactly like this. In order for them to win, this game had to be played under 24 points. They couldn't have written a better script. They couldn't have had a better forecast. They couldn't have had the secondary for the Buccaneers fall apart like it did. Everything fell in place for the Patriots to win, and they still couldn't get it done. What does that say about them? It says that they're a work in progress. They're far from a finished product. They got a ways to go. What does it say about the Bucs? That's championship metal. You don't have your fastball. It's not the prettiest. You don't know who is out there at the cornerback position. You got Ross Cockrell. You got Pierre Desir. Hell, Josh Norman is wearing Dick Sherman is wearing a nameplate because people don't even know who he is. He just got there 3-4 days ago, it feels like. And these are the guys playing corner for you in this game. You know what it felt like for the Buccaneers in this game? And what it's felt like really all season. You ever seen the movie Thinner? Where the old guy cast a spell on this man. He says, "You are getting thinner, thinner." And all of a sudden, the guy is getting thinner. It doesn't matter what he does. He keeps losing weight. That's what's happening to the Buccaneers secondary. You're getting thinner and thinner. And every time I look up, another Buccaneers defender is going down, and they're having to reach in the toolbox and pull another guy out. And somehow they had just enough guys to get through this week. I don't know what it'll look like next week, but gutty effort by the Buccaneers. Brady did not have a stellar game, but Fournette did. Fournette was outstanding. It was physical. It was grinded out for Fournette on the ground. What did he end up with in this game? Let's check and see his numbers. Fournette, 20 carries, 91 yards. I think he also had about a good 4 or 5 catches in this game for probably another 25 yards or so. Let's see. Fournette, 3 for 47 in the air. So Fournette was spectacular. Well over 100 all-purpose yards for Leonard Fournette. He was really the feature offensively in this game. But when you saw the weather and you saw what it was going to be, you knew that the ground attack was going to be huge. And, this is, to me, another instance of where you just realize we're not going to bang our head up against a brick wall. A lot of people tried to chastise Dallas in week 1 against this Buccaneers team for simply just abandoning the run game from the jump. And I was like, it's not a bad strategy. These Buccaneers are almost when they're healthy with Golston, Sue, and Vea up front. It's in JPP, and I don't even did he play tonight? I don't think he played tonight. With those guys, those three guys in the middle in particular, it's all been impossible to run on the Buccaneers. Okay, the Patriots tried, they failed, and then they realized we got to turn it over to the young fella. And so, while everybody was drooling over Mac Jones, and he had a really strong game, and he had 19 straight completions at one point. It was an extension of the run game, essentially. Like, it was dink and dunk city, but credit to him for hanging in there. I got to give some credit to Mac Jones. Who? Mac Jones. The miggity, Mac. Who? How the miggity, Mac? How the miggity, Mac? How the miggity, Mac? He stood in there and took some shots tonight. Those boys, Todd Bowles had no mercy. He said, you want some mercy? Take your ass to church. That man was blitzing on every other snap. And I think he got hit at least 15 times tonight. I'd love to see the sack, hit, and hurry stat that they like to put up on the screen. I'd love to see that stat from this game because he got hit at least 8 times tonight. At least. I want to put it in double digits. Okay? I want to put it somewhere around 11 or 12. He took a beating tonight, but he stood in there like a big boy, took his medicine, and delivered the football. And even if it was only for a 4-yard gain to the tight end over the middle of the field, he took it, got up, dusted himself off, got back in the huddle, or got everybody to the line of scrimmage because it was a lot of hurry up, especially in the second half, and he kept going at it. I got to give him credit for that. But Todd Bowles showed zero mercy on the young fella, came after him time and time again, and it was a great strategy. Don't sit back and let this guy pick your secondary apart. You don't even know who's playing back there for you. Go after him, make a quick decision, rally up and tackle, and that's what they did tonight. And wow, what a game. A lot of people don't enjoy these defensive type of contests where they're physical and it's a slobber knocker where, last team with the ball may win on a field goal. But I enjoy these games a lot. And this one was fun to watch. And it was the direct opposite of what I was expecting because I didn't think and I didn't know the weather report either. I did not know that going in, but this was the kind of game that the Patriots wanted to play, had to play, needed to play to have a chance. I didn't think they were going to have a chance to play this type of game. I didn't know Gronk was going to miss the game. I didn't know how severe his injury was until later on in the week. Obviously, he didn't even make the trip to New England. It was supposed to be him coming back to New England as well, but he never made the trip. He was, really dealing with that rib injury, and so he didn't play. That really hurt him, especially in the red zone. They could not find anyone to make big plays for them down there. I've always said that, Gronk is one of the best set of hands in the NFL, and they could have used him on a night where the ball was slippery, it was wet, and Brady was looking for someone to get the football to in the red zone. It didn't work for them on this particular night. I can tell you this, O.J. Howard is essentially a ghost in that offense. Did he even get a target tonight? Let's take a look and see. O.J. Howard, 1 target, 0 yards, 0 catches. He's a ghost. He started the game in absence of Gronk, and he still was a non-factor. I mean, he's blocking. So there's that, I guess. But somebody free O.J. Howard, please. Free that man, okay? Somebody come and get him at the trade deadline. Buccaneers, just take something for this kid. You obviously don't want him back. Just let him go and get something for him, okay? Don't let him leave in free agency. Get something for him. But all in all, big night for football, obviously, because this game kind of transcends the sport itself. I wouldn't be shocked if they're talking about this on Good Morning America tomorrow, because this was almost bigger than football, so to speak. And it was a good night for, Mac Jones and the Patriots. Like, it's a loss and there are no moral victories. They're 1-3 now, but this shows growth. They got their asses handed to them last week. I was so disappointed in the Patriots. They got destroyed by the Saints last week, but this kind of speaks to what we talk about all the time. In the NFL is a week-to-week league. The Jets got shut out last week. The Jets get their first win of the season this week. Okay. The Patriots looked like hot garbage last week. They almost pull a big upset this week. You just don't know what you're going to get. The Vikings looked like they couldn't be stopped on offense last week. This week, they only scored 7 points. I mean, you don't really know what you're going to get from week to week in this league. But for the Buccaneers, you put another one in the left-hand column. I know Brady is taking a deep sigh of relief because he absolutely didn't want to go back to Foxborough and lose, but this was weighing on him. This game was big for him. You just want to get this one out of the way, put this one in the rearview mirror, and now just focus on playing football, because this game was more than just football. There was a lot of emotion, a lot of things tied to this game, a lot of questions that you don't have to answer on a normal week. There was so much buildup here. He just wanted to put this one in the rear view and now focus on the remainder of the season. And so we'll see where this goes for the Patriots, or the Buccaneers rather. And now the question is, what's the status of some of these guys that went down tonight? Carlton Davis went down in this football game. We've heard that it was a concussion for Antoine Winfield Jr. How severe of a concussion? If in fact it is a concussion, we don't know if that's the case or not. But Carlton Davis's injury did not look good. He could not put any weight on his leg. So we'll see what the severity of that injury is, and how they'll be able to maybe overcome some of these injuries, because again, they're getting really thin in the back end. And that's one of the places they can ill afford to lose any more players if you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But they get the win 19-17 over the Patriots. And I thought that was a gutsy call by Bill Belichick to attempt a 56-yarder in that rainstorm, essentially. The hardest rain we've seen all night. We know Nick Folk has the leg, but, they had talked about him having issues with his planting leg. And then you factor in the weather conditions. It couldn't have been easy, and he still stroked it. It wasn't a distance issue. It was an accuracy issue. I thought he could have gone for it there, but I guess he felt like, look, don't want to put the young fella in a situation where he's got to have this 3 yards or whatever it was. It was a very short fourth down, but Folk almost gave him the lead. It didn't matter to me. Had Folk put it through the uprights, they were going to lose this game 22-20. Brady had 2 timeouts. It was just about a minute left in the game. They were going to lose this game regardless. It just happened to be 19-17 instead of 22-20. So anyway, I digress. Let's get to your comments. And we start with Journey Reed. Thank you for becoming a member of the MOBB. Stand up, Journey Reed. You're now officially in the building as a brand new member of the Mob Squad. Squad, you know what to do. Show Journey Reed some love. Journey Reed, thank you for becoming the newest member of the MOBB. Welcome aboard. Love to have you. ASH and double E. Okay, I like that name. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, still a competitive game, but Bucs secondary really hurt. He said, what do you think of Super Bowl halftime show? Might be the best one ever. It's stacked. I want to see how they intermingle all of these acts that they have. You got Dre, Snoop, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, Mary J. Blige. Obviously, the theme is West Coast, and then you sprinkle in Eminem and Mary J. I just want to see how it all works together. I mean, obviously, we know Dre and Snoop are probably going to do Snoop's song from back in the day on the, I want to say it was Snoop's first album. They might do Dre's song too. Next episode. I don't know how. That's the thing. I don't know. Like, where does Mary J fit in all of this? Is she singing somebody's hook on a song? I don't know. I just know it's star-studded. It's in LA, so you know what the theme of the show is going. I just want to see what they are going to do. But anyway, let's see. Lurts of Orthanic. Thank you for your membership. Stand up, Lurts of Orthanic. You are officially in the building as a brand new member of the MOBB Alerts of Authentic. Come on in. We got plenty of space and plenty of members waiting to give you some love. Y'all know what to do. Show Alerts of Authentic some love. Welcome to the squad. Alerts of Authentic, glad to have you. All right. Mob members, thank you for being members of the MOBB. Stand up. You know you in the building. Really appreciate every single one of you. So let's get to the comment section and see what we have. If you are out there, want your comment read, super chats are the best way to do that. Jump straight to the front of the line with super chats. But the other way to do it is to use the hashtag LouieTLive to have your comment read on the air. So let's get to the comment section and see what is there. We got Juan Gotti talking sports. The Cardinals are elite. I wasn't a believer, but now I am. Submit a division rival in that fashion. Wow. So I was shocked. So let me tell you how I found out about this game. I'm doing the Washington overtime show, and I'm scanning the comment section, next comment, and looking for the next super chat. And, as I'm scanning, I'm still reading comments. I read it quick. I skim. I don't actually get to read the whole comment, obviously, as I'm searching for the next thing. And so as I'm going down, I see, I want to say it was Big Money Sonny is like, random comment in the comment section, talking to everybody else that's in the comment section. He says, man, the Cardinals are really putting their foot in the Rams' ass. And I'm like, really? I remember the last thing I saw in that game before I got on overtime was they tried to go deep to Deshaun Jackson, and it looked like Matthew Stafford had him again. And remember, he underthrew Deshaun Jackson twice and then finally hit him deep on the third one. And, the Cardinals have a stud safety from Washington, from UW. Had 2 interceptions, one to the crib against Jacksonville last week. Can't think of his name, but he's from UW. He's a beast. And he cuts in front of Deshaun Jackson and picks it off at the last moment. It was underthrown again. He lays it out there under Jackson, lets him run under it, and he's probably a touchdown. But he picks it off, and I was like, damn, that's a good-ass play. But I didn't think anything of it. Like, it was deep in their territory. It's not like he picked it off, and now the Cardinals are set up 1st and 10 from the Rams 29. It's like a punt. Yes, he launched it about 50 yards in the air. He picked it off. But I was like, damn. Okay. Then when I get off, the first thing I wanted to see now is what's the score of that game? Because, he said that they were putting their foot in the Rams' ass. And I'm like, really? And I get off, and it's like 37-14. I'm like, oh, okay. Yikes. So I'm dying to watch that game. I haven't seen it yet, but I am dying to see what the hell happened. Because I keep disrespecting the Cardinals because of what they did to me last year. I would go in on the Cardinals, and I would pick them in some big spots, and they would let me down. And so I keep thinking that that's what they're going to do this year. They're a different team. They retooled. They got some veterans like it's AJ Green, and they got some young talented guys. They added JJ Watt. It's a different team. They're playing like it. And they're more mature. Kyler Murray's a year mature, and so is their head coach. It's a different team, and they're playing like it. Wow. Arizona Cardinals 4-0, and they spanked the Rams in LA. And now they lead that division all by their lonesome. Interesting stuff. Niners fan. Thank you for the comment. Niners fan writes, Lou, we stink on offense. Yeah, I won't say you stink. You're limited. That's the term I like to use for the 49ers. You're very, very limited. That's why I didn't pick you to win this game. I didn't think you would. Plus, Seattle's back was up against the wall. They didn't expect to go to Minnesota and lose last week. They didn't expect to blow a 14-point lead 2 weeks ago at home to Tennessee. So their backs were up against the wall. I talked about all those 1 and 2 teams that won their divisions last year with their backs up against the wall that needed to win. Seattle was one of those teams. I expected them to go to San Francisco and win. I saw all I needed to see out of San Francisco's offense. You got injuries. You couldn't afford injuries on offense, especially at the running back position, because even though Kyle can take any running back and make him serviceable, and it sounds like Trey Sermon had a really strong game. I haven't seen it yet. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is you didn't have enough stuff to be losing anything that you had to begin with, and you're limited on offense. Your offense doesn't have any explosion right now, even though it seems like on a weekly basis you're making 1 or 2 big plays. I think you had a 60-yard catch and run for a touchdown or something like that. The one guy you have is Deebo Samuel. You take him out of the mix and you got nothing offensively. That scares anybody at least. But he's a beast, and it's just not enough. He needs help. And George Kittle is a beast too, but he's always injured, it seems like. And even though I think he played today, he wasn't healthy, really. But Kittle's a problem. Samuel is a problem. But you don't have anybody else that really moves the needle. And then, you don't have a quarterback that takes it to that next level. Jimmy G got hurt, I heard, in the game. I haven't watched it, obviously, but Trey Lance isn't ready. And so your offense doesn't stink. It's just limited. It's just limited. He says, time to question Kyle. I don't care if we miss the postseason. I want Lance starting the rest of the year. We can be competitive next year. By the way, warned you about the Jets. I knew the Jets could win today. And I punked out because I picked the Jets in week 2 against the Patriots. And they laid the fattest of fat eggs. And then the following week, they got blanked by the Broncos. But I said, hey, now you were just basically talking about Robert Saleh. You weren't talking about the Jets in general. But I said, Tennessee doesn't have anybody to throw the football to. Like, I literally tried to talk myself into why I should pick the Jets, but then I backtracked and said, nah, can't pick the Jets. They stink. And I've been beating myself up this year because I've seen things happening, know why they're going to happen, still not ballsy enough to pull the trigger. That's another example right there. Pissed off at myself. Knew the Jets could win. And I told you guys on Friday's podcast, hey, look, this is the spot for the Jets to get their first win. It really is. It's set up. They're at home. The Titans don't have Julio Jones or A.J. Brown. Who are they going to throw the football to? Chester? Remember I said Chester Rogers? Like, who are they going to throw the football to? Cameron Batson? I knew it. I just said they're going to bludgeon him to death with Derrick Henry and find a way to win. Maybe force 2 or 3 interceptions of Zach Wilson. He seems to love to share and throw it to wrong color jerseys. So that was my way of making me feel like I was on the right side of it. But I already said everything that was laid out for why the Jets could win, and I bitched up. And that's the second week in a row that I had an inkling, and I didn't pull the trigger. That one's disappointing right there. But you're probably right about Trey Lance starting the rest of the season. It's probably for the best. You're not going to do anything of note this year. You're not going to win anything meaningful, right? But it's hard to tell 53 guys in the locker room that, hey, we're going to experiment for the rest of the year with the young fella. You guys are along for the ride. Sorry, but I know you had aspirations of trying to do something big this year, but we need to take a step back to maybe take 2 steps forward with the young fella. That's the truth of the matter, is that's probably what you need to do. The players in the locker room don't want to hear that, but the fact of the matter is you're only going to win something if Trey Lance turns out to be really good. So you need to get him out there, let him play, let him make his mistakes, let him learn and grow, and hope that you got it right with Trey Lance with the number 3 overall pick. So I think you're right. I think he does need to play the remainder of the season, but we'll see. Got a super chat here from Journey Reed. Thank you for the super chat, Journey Reed. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for becoming a member of the MOBB. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, refs were trying to let the Pats win that one at the end. I didn't agree with that pass interference penalty. I did not agree. They missed a clear and obvious false start. Yeah, I thought they were really not necessarily trying to make them win, but I was like, yeah, they're trying to make this thing a lot more interesting because if they don't get that pass interference, they're not even at midfield. I really think they were going to go 4 and out. They would have had to go for it. I really thought they were going to go 4 and out. You incomplete that one on 1st and 10. Now Todd Bowles is coming after you on the next 2 downs, and it's going to force a 4th down. And maybe he continues to dink and dunk, and they pick up the 1st down. But that would have been a rough start to the drive, and instead they get the flag. He says iffy, and then they missed a clear false start. Absolutely, there with you on that one as well. Bad week for the refs around the league, in my opinion. Haven't watched all the games, but the referees were tripping in a lot of the games that I did watch, and they definitely. And what I tried to make myself feel better about some of the misses late in that game was it's raining really hard. Maybe their view got obstructed by some of the rain or something, because those were obvious misses. I thought, especially the false start. That was a big miss, but it is what it is. DCJ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy DCJ writes, yo, Lou, what's good? What's good, DCJ? Couple things. Check out my opinion on Washington football team after game comment. Also, Pat should have went for it on 4th down. I felt the same way. I told people all week game would be close. Pat's new Tom Bucs had keys out tonight. You know what? That's something that I really did underestimate. It's just how well Bill Belichick and that brass and that staff, how well they knew Tom Brady. I mean, even though Belichick wasn't in the meetings with Tom Brady, you could just go down the hall and pick the brain of Josh McRoberts or McDaniels, excuse me, and say, hey, what are some of the things Tom struggles with? What are some of the things Tom does well? What does he like to do in this situation? I mean, these are all things they already know. Definitely, it's, a different offense that Tom's playing in now, and some of his things, some of the idiosyncrasies of that offense are vastly different from what they do in New England, but he's still Tom Brady. He still has things that he likes, things that he's comfortable doing and not doing, and they know all of those things. And I underestimated how much that would come into play in this game, and that's why I thought they were going to get their brains bashed in. But I severely underestimated. Again, I kind of, and sometimes I contradict myself because I talk about it's a week-to-week league, but yet I let things that happened a week ago kind of formulate opinions for the next week, when I know, what I see and how this works, and yet sometimes I drop the ball. And I think I somewhat dropped it on this game, but still got the win. But it was really, really close, a lot closer than I thought it would be. And I'll definitely check out that comment you left in the comment section. Dejan Bell, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Dejan Bell writes, will Sammy get snaps if Logan can't go? Hard to say. The assumption is he'll be active. I don't think that means he'll get snaps. You don't go from the practice squad to getting snaps unless they go to 3 tight end sets, which we rarely are in. So I'd like to think that John Bates, which he played in this game, had to, because he was the only other active tight end with Ricky Seals-Jones. Those 2 played a ton. I expect them to be the guys that continue to play. And I think they'll go ahead. Depending on the severity of the injury, they may sign a tight end, put another guy on the practice squad and go about it that way. You know what? Why am I saying dumb stuff? If they sign a tight end, it's going to be Tamarick Hemingway. We already know who it's going to be. It's not like it's going to be some kind of secret or some guy out there we never heard of. If they, just like they just brought Kelvin Harmon back because of some injuries at receiver, they're going to bring back Tamarick Hemingway, and he'll be back on the practice squad. And they may even elevate him to the active roster and leave Sammy on the practice squad, because Tamarick knows the offense already. That's why they said we can cut him. Nobody else is going to pick him up. And he knows the offense. So if we have to bring him back, we can slide him in there immediately. So I wouldn't be shocked if Sammy stays on the practice squad. Honestly, we'll see. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Metaphor writes, yes, J Bell, I'm Washington football team press man. Game jersey ready. Okay. I don't know what you're referring to there, but I'm assuming you were having sidebar conversation there. So I'll leave that to you guys. Niners fan says, did you see Bill Belichick making those weird faces on TV? That was hilarious. Yes, I actually liked that tweet. I didn't watch it myself. I didn't see it live. I was on socials, and somebody that I follow had made a video of it, put it on Twitter, and I saw it there, and then I liked it. So yeah, that's a meme now. That's a meme. That's a GIF. That's not going away ever. So welcome to the social media stratosphere, Steve Belichick. Oh, man. Atlas. He says, we're winning these games gritty, Lou, but good teams find a way to win even when the cards aren't on your side. That's 110% spot on. It's not how it looks in this league. Rarely does it look pristine, okay? Rarely are you clicking on all cylinders, destroy a team like the Bills did Houston today. Rarely does that take place. I always say, and a wise man always said to me, more games are lost in this league than they are won. And so most weeks, it's not what you do, but rather what you don't do. Like, don't turn it over. Don't have self-inflicting penalties and wounds. It's usually the other team's mistakes that you take advantage of that helps you win a game. It's generally how it goes in this league. Sometimes you got to play your best football because the other team's playing outstanding ball, and then, you know, you find a way to outlast that team. But neither team, I shouldn't say neither team, because this is how the Patriots have to win this season, not just in this game. I said this after week 1 when they lost to the Dolphins. I'm like, this is how the Patriots are going to have to win. They're going to have to win. And I told you, I think they're going to have a really good defense this year. They got talent on the defensive side of the football. They got all the pieces in all the right places that Belichick needs to get the job done. And they still don't have their best defensive player. It's Stephon Gilmore. When he comes back, they'll probably be able to get even more nasty on the defensive side of the football. But for me, their offense isn't going to be explosive nor dynamic at any point this year. I don't care how good Mac Jones gets. They're going to be a very middle-of-the-road type of offense. And 23 to 26 points on a good day is some of the best work they'll be able to do this season. They may have one offensive outburst. They play against a team that the Jets turned it over like 6 times. They still only mustered 26 points. Like, they're really not going to blow you out from a point standpoint. And so what I see with the Patriots is that essentially these are the kind of games they're going to have to play in and how they're going to win. And so they had to bring you down to their level, and it almost worked. But like you said, that's a testament to your team finding a way to win even when you don't have your fastball. That's championship medal. That's what separates the teams in this league that win 6 games, 7 games, and the teams that win 11, 12, 13 games. The bad teams in the league, they find a way to lose these games. The middle of the road teams, and you know, they're the have-nots and the middle class in the NFL. The have-nots, they find a way to lose these games. At the end of the season, you'll look up, they'll be 1-7 in games decided by a touchdown or less. The have-nots will be 1-7 in those games. The middle class, they'll be 4-4. They'll be 3-5 in those games decided by a score less, but that's why they'll end up 8-9 or 9-8 and just miss out on the postseason, or 7-10 if they're 3-5 in those games. And then you have the haves, and those are the Super Bowl contending teams. They find a way to win. They go 8-1 in games decided by 1 score or less. They go 6-2 in those contests. And That's really how it goes in this league. You got to find a way to win close games. There's a fine line between good and bad in this league, and try to find yourself on the right end of that by winning these close ball games. And the best way to do that is to not hurt yourself. Did the Buccaneers have any turnovers tonight? Because I know Mac Jones threw an interception. I don't think the Buccaneers had any turnovers tonight. That's how you win. On the road, hostile environment, inclement weather conditions. Take care of the football. Minimize the mistakes. Give yourself a chance. That's what you did. That's how you won. See, got another super chat. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Big Money Sonny, writes, Kingsford Charcoal. Antonio Brown couldn't catch a cold. He was actually really good. He did not catch that last one down the stretch. It was not an easy grab. The rain was coming down. It was really good coverage, but we've seen him catch that a million times. It was a tough one, had to lay out for it, didn't come down with it, but they got it done. He says, in Richard Sherman Helmsley got out of bed and they threw him onto the field. Pretty much. Dick Sherman literally got the call early in the week, maybe Monday, Tuesday, and literally was out on the field starting. He didn't play, a certain amount. He started and played the entire game for the Buccaneers. That's how bad they're hurting at the cornerback position right now. Yeah, it was really a fascinating watch for a number of reasons, that being one of them there, seeing Dick Sherman get out there. And he actually didn't look too bad. JP, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, John Perez, writes, big win for Brady. Washington football team won a huge game. My Red Sox are playoff bound. You need to rant on these officials on your pod and bring your afro back. The fro is not coming back anytime soon, I don't think. As far as the officials, I'm not going to rant about them on the podcast. This is what you get in the NFL. It's an inexact science. You're not going to have them be perfect. They were awful in some games. I haven't watched all the games. Maybe I have a different opinion watching the rest of these games. But, the officials are going to make mistakes, and that's a part of the game. It sucks, especially when it impacts your team negatively, but it's a part of the game. There's nothing you can do about that. And again, I'm not one to really complain about the officials too much, because there are so many plays in a game that, really help to decide the outcome. And yeah, the officials may have their hand in, 2 or 3 or 4 of them, maybe a whole handful of them. But at the end of the day, there were other plays that could have been made that could have helped sway the game and swing it in your favor, your team's favor, and they didn't make them. And that's what it usually boils down to, a lot of times. So, the officials weren't great in our game, especially, but they missed some calls in this Patriots game. But guess what? The Bucs overcame them and won. And that's what it's all about, finding a way to get it done anyway. Yeah, they tried to screw us in our game, but guess what? We overcame it and won anyway. So it happens. Got another super chat here from Dejan Bell. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Dejan. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, did Cowboys W make you think they're more legit? No. I told you they were legit. I expected them to win this game. I expect them to win a lot more games, but I also expect them to lose some games. Like, they're a good football team. And the thing that I'm not surprised by is their offense. We knew that coming into the season. I've been trying to tell every Washington football team fan, they've got the best offense in the division, and it's not really close. And Dak Prescott is the best quarterback in the division, and I think we can all agree on that. I don't want to speak for anyone, but I think we can all agree on that, and he's proven that again off the injury. And then what is the biggest surprise is that their defense isn't half bad and ours is trash. That's the biggest surprise. But they're still Dallas. They're still going to hit a couple of bumps in the road that we didn't expect them to hit. And I think there are a couple of losses that we look at, they're going to win, and they end up losing the game. But, right now they look good. They look damn good. And the schedule is in their favor. Like, we had to play Buffalo. They're going to play New England. I think they should beat New England. They got the Giants. It's like, I would love it if we had more NFC East games. I would love to play Philadelphia right now. I would love to play Dallas right now. I'm not saying that we would beat Dallas. I'd love to play them, though. I'd take my chances against Dallas versus playing Kansas City. I'd rather backload those games. Actually, I'd rather play Kansas City right now before they figure some shit out. Give me them right now. We get them in a couple of weeks. I'd like to take my chances against Kansas City right now while they're still trying to figure some things out and still struggling, because they may hit their stride later in the season and become more difficult to beat. I'd rather get my Saints out of the way, just like the Giants did. I'd rather get my Saints out of the way now while they don't have Michael Thomas, while they got a bunch of guys injured. Their left tackle, Teron Armstead, is injured. They got all these guys out. They got a bunch of guys out. And I think they're going to be out for our game next week. Let me get them out of the way now, too. But you know what? I'd like to push Green Bay back. You know, let me get a Philadelphia instead of Green Bay. You know, hey, I'd like my Denver Broncos now. I don't know how long Teddy's going to be out for. It's a concussion, so I'd like to think he'd be back before we play them on Halloween. But if I could get my Denver Broncos edition with Drew Lock, I'd definitely like to take my shot at that versus Teddy Bridgewater. Anyway, the Cowboys are going to benefit, and every team in the NFC East except us is going to have a chance to benefit from beating up on lesser competition, because the division still stinks, honestly speaking. The Giants got a big win today. They still stink. The Eagles, they lost today. They gave up 42. They stink. I'd love to try my hand at them once or twice. We don't get to do that until our season may be well and gone. In the rearview mirror a long time ago, and now here comes 5 straight division games to wrap up the season. That's why it sucks. If our division was Murderer's Row, we played in the NFC West, yeah, put them shits at the back. Let me take my chances with all these other teams, and I'll see y'all later. I would love to get a chance to beat the Giants. The Cowboys are going to have a chance. They embarrassed the Eagles on Monday night last week. Now they get a chance to beat the New York Giants next week at home. I'd love to have an opportunity to play the Giants again. We already got one. It wasn't easy, but we got it. I'd love to play the Eagles. We don't get that opportunity. So, do I think the Cowboys W makes them more legit? No. They beat a good Panthers team, but I expected them, because we all sat here last Thursday night and talked about how the Panthers 3-0 start was quote unquote, soft. It wasn't legit. They were fraudulent. I got that a lot that night. Oh, these Panthers are fraudulent. So you had an idea that they were going to go into Dallas. This was going to be the real first offense that they saw, and they were going to struggle a little bit. And they did. They fought. But it was just a little bit too much for them to overcome in that game. So Dallas is legit. It didn't make me think any more of them. I already thought they were legit going into the game. We need to keep pace. I talked about that last week. That's why we had to win this game, and we did. But I trust in the Cowboys doing Cowboy-like things. And so at some point, they'll lose a game we expect them to win. They'll win a game that we didn't expect them to win as well. Like, it goes both ways. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if they beat Kansas City. That's the kind of shit the Cowboys do. They'll beat the Chiefs, but then they'll lose to the Broncos. Like, that's the kind of shit the Cowboys do. So I don't know what's going to happen. This could be one of those years, though. If we're not careful, we keep letting them build confidence. This could be one of those years they go 13-4. No bullshit. Got to stop them now before they get too damn big for their britches. DCJ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. DCJ writes, my hands are tied this week. Washington football team, my number 1 hometown team. Saints, my number 2 team since Aaron Brooks days. I'm always torn when Washington football team and Saints play. I do like Washington football team, though. I hear you, but I can't ever get down with the I got 2 teams thing. You could love Aaron Brooks while he was there. Aaron Brooks has been gone for over a decade off of the Saints roster. Okay. Can't have 2 teams. I respect you having 2 teams, but I don't respect you having 2 teams. I get it, but I don't get it. So you got to pick a side, man. You can't straddle the fence. You either with us or you against us. Okay. Come on, man. You a Washington fan. Stop your nonsense, DCJ. DCJ says, if Bucs don't have Tom, they lose. Jones was solid. Well, we can say that about a lot of games with Tampa Bay. They don't have the Buccaneers. I mean, they don't have Tom Brady. They lose. Bucs fans will tell you that themselves. These games, they used to lose with Jameis Winston. That was the reason they would end up 7-9 every year. Because Jameis would throw a back-breaking pick, or Jameis would do something foolish, or they would have field goal kicking issues. Like, that was a big kick for Ryan Suckup late in the ball game. What was it, from like 47, 48? It's a big kick, man. They would miss that kick before time got there. So it's different when you got a guy and you know, like I said this earlier in the show. It didn't matter if Nick Folk makes that kick from 56. They still were going to lose anyway. And that's probably how Buccaneers fans feel. Like, you can make this field goal, but it's still 57 seconds left and we still got 2 timeouts. You're going to lose anyway because we have Tom Brady. He's going to get us in the field goal range. Just like Aaron Rodgers did last week for the Packers, Brady was going to do the same thing for us. So we're going to win the game. Either we were going to win 19-17 like we did, or we're going to have to score another field goal and win 22-20. Either way, we're going to win the game. And I felt that way. They were going to win this game regardless. Once they didn't go for it, this is why I said they should have went for it on 4th down. Because even if they make the field goal, they were still going to lose the game. And Belichick thought, nah, if we get this field goal, I'm going to put it on Brady's ass on his last drive and we're going to win this game. No, the hell you were not. No, the hell you were not. I would have went for it on 4th down because not only do I not want my kicker going out there for a 56-yard field goal in these conditions, I also don't want Brady to get the football back with a chance to beat me. Even if he does, all right, do it with no timeouts and with 25 less seconds on the clock. Do it with that. You ain't going to do it with a full minute essentially and 2 timeouts. Because then I know I'm going to get my ass beat. Anyway, I digress. Captain Spartan 04, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, I still stand by AB. Could have been the best receiver ever, not just staying in pit, but keeping his head straight. Also, can you read Ree's comments, please? If I got time, I'll get to them. I always got to get to these super chats first. We all feel like that with Antonio Brown. If he would have been able, and like you said, it didn't have to be in Pittsburgh, but it would have been better if he would have stayed with Ben because they made beautiful music together. And they had this chemistry where he always knew how to get AB to football. He could have been, I mean, there was a stretch there, and we've talked about this numerous times, so I don't need to keep talking about it. But there was a stretch in the NFL where there was all these big-time receivers. They were 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", these huge guys. And then there was little old AB right up there amongst the giants, the Calvin Johnsons and Larry Fitzgeralds and the Andre Johnsons, all these guys, Julio Jones, all these guys are the best receivers in the league. And there was Antonio Brown right there with them. Killing it. Could have been that guy. Dejon Bell, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Dejon writes, lastly, I'm so glad we showed Pitts a ton of nickel. Me too. I was glad we weren't the team that he decided to break out for 7 catches, 124 yards and a touchdown. Like they were this close to getting him his first career NFL touchdown. I didn't want it to be us. Let that be next week against the Jets in London. Let him have a big game against the Jets. I don't want that to be us. It was Cordero Patterson who had the career day, but let it be him. He's been in the league long enough. That's fine. Don't let it be Kyle Pitts. Don't let it be Kyle Pitts. I'm glad we found a way to keep him under wraps for the most part. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Big Money Sonny, who writes, quit playing, Lou. Mahomes will fracas, roast, barbecue, deep fry, etc. our trash secondary. What's the over-under on Winston's passing yardage next week? You're right. He probably will, but I'll take my shot at that Chiefs defense as well. Like, I watched Jalen Hurts throw for damn near 400 today on those boys. And if not for a couple of foolish penalties on the Eagles and some stupid things that they were doing, it could have been worse. You know, like, their defense really does stink. And if you could get to Mahomes just a tad, I know that's not our strength right now. At some point, we got to get to somebody, right? Probably won't be Mahomes, but you might be. Look, you got to pick your poison with the Chiefs. Either you got to let Kelsey have 11 catches for 144 yards and 2 touchdowns, or you got to let Tyreek Hill, which I'd much rather say, all right, Kelsey, nickel and dime the shit out of me. I won't sit back and let Tyreek Hill have 8 catches for 196 yards and 3 touchdowns like the Eagles did today. I can't live with that on my conscience because his shit is immediate. His is 77 yards in the score. Kelsey is a slow death. And all you asking for is one batted Mahomes ball, one forced by Mahomes that gets caromed up into the air and it gets picked off. With Tyreek, it's over. You get 2 in the dome and it's done. With Travis Kelsey, they tie you to a chair and they stick a ice pick in your kneecap. They saw off one of your fingers. They electrocute you a little bit. They waterboard you, but you still have a chance. Maybe, just maybe, somebody's coming in through that door to bust in here and save my life. With Tyreek Hill, it's bop, bop, and it's over. I don't know what the over-under is for Jameis Winston. They're still playing musical chairs at the quarterback position. Jameis Winston, I'm not afraid. I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm not afraid of him or that Saints offense right now. I'm not. That doesn't mean we can't. I told you, you don't have to be scared to get your ass beat. That's not a prerequisite to getting your ass beat, being scared. You can be a tough guy. You can be ready all you want. You can still get your ass beat. I'm not afraid, though. I'm not afraid of that offense. Doesn't mean they won't put 33 on us next week. The Falcons, I wasn't afraid of them either. They just put 30 on our skull. So being afraid doesn't matter, but I'm not shook at all. We'll see what happens next week, man. I'll just say that. We'll see what happens. Bigger TV, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, McKissick is going to be in DC for a long time. I hope so. I would love for them to re-sign him. I advocated for that today. Like, re-sign that man ASAP. ASAP. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, low-key, Ron is a better linebacker than Bostic right now. Oh, man. Chris Devers, my guy CD. It's been a while. How you doing, Chris? Says, Dallas looks like a complete team. Hashtag we them boys. You're looking good right now. Cannot deny that whatsoever. Cannot. Even though I hate to admit it. It's true. DCJ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. I think that's a double up. Might be your third. Either way, DCJ writes, do you notice Dallas is going back to a run heavy, letting Dak be balanced and managed? Unfortunately, if they are healthy, that's their legit recipe to success. I don't think I can't co-sign that right now because the last 2 games have really truly been ass whoopings. And it's easy to be balanced when you're ahead and now you're trying to burn clock, which is what they were doing today and what they were doing last week against Philadelphia. So I want to see when shit gets real and they're in a shootout, do they still stick to Dak handing it off to Zeke? Or do they say, all right, Zeke, we need you to catch it out of the backfield. All right, Pollard, I need you to catch it out of the backfield. Does Zeke still get 25 carries in a close ball game? How many did he have against the Chargers? I'm curious now. Because that was a nip and tuck ball game. Maybe he had it a bunch in that game too. Well, let's find out. Only one way to find out. Let's not guess. Let's see. How many times he got it in the Chargers? Because that was a close game. Zeke got the football rushing-wise 16 times. Pollard got it 13 times. Now, they both had a hell of a game running, though. Pollard had 13 carries for 109 yards. Elliott had 16 carries for 71 yards. As a team, they almost had 200 yards rushing and 6.4 per tote. So they ran it in that game, but they could have run it more. Why didn't that lead to more success? I can't tell you. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Metaphor writes, Washington football team, 2 games, 30 plus already offense. Celebrate TLH, the legend of Heineke. It grows. I talked about that earlier today. 2 games of already 30 or more. 30 against the Giants, 34 today. The offense is carrying us right now. And again, I would have called you a liar to your face if you would have told me that would have been the case at this point of the season, But that's where we at with ours right now. We almost at that hour mark, but I will knock down some more comments. Storm writes, hated that 4th down kicking call. Even if he made it, you want to give Tom 50-plus seconds with 2 timeouts to go get a field goal. Bill Belichick wanted this game and cost himself, in my opinion. I'm right there with you. I said it already. Who didn't think that even if he had made that field goal, they weren't going to lose the game 22-20? Who didn't feel that way? And I don't know why Bill Belichick didn't understand that concept either. Like, really? You're going to put your kick out there for a 56-yarder in those conditions? And he almost made it. But it was it's not like it was 4th and 7. If it's 4th and 7, 4th and 8, okay, I get it. That's a long down. And it's 4th and 3. It's 4th and 3. I thought it was a bad decision by Belichick, but he did what he thought was in the best interest of his team. It didn't work. That's essentially how that went. Got another super chat. This is from Big Money Sonny. Thank you for the super chat, Big Money Sonny. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, it's Dallas. Come on, they'll find a way to screw it up. Also, Lou, I tried Chris Collinsworth riding Brady every game he announces. He says, I'm tired I'm tired of Chris Collinsworth riding Brady every game he announces. Look, you know what you're going to get. You know what? I thought he actually cut back on his Brady love and gave that to Mac Jones. He was slobbering all over Mac Jones tonight. That was his guy tonight. You knew there was going to be it was going to be Brady love. It was Brady's night. And he's earned the right to have this night. But he was really on Mac Jones, especially late in the game. Whew. He was on Mac Jones, boy. He loved him some Mac Jones. Anyway, let's get back up here. See where we left off. We left off with my guy, Storm. Let's see. Got Ree here who says, it's not going to say how bad our offense was, how we tried to give it away. All it's going to say is how we put a dub on it. That's all that matters. Win 3-1. Absolutely. Said the same exact thing. Storm says, I ain't questioning Bill's legacy, but 1-3 now and 8-11 after Tom ain't great for someone who's supposed to be the best head coach ever. Bill's fuming after this. He wanted this one bad. He wanted this one bad. And, when it's all said and done and we look back and we take a step back, the debate when Brady first left was it more Brady? Was it more Belichick? And I think most people have come to the conclusion that it was both of them, right? Nobody wants to pick a side. But when we take a step back and we see what Tom did in his first year in Tampa, and we see that Belichick won't make it to the postseason this year. He didn't make it last year. And we'll see what Mac Jones turns into, because if Mac Jones ends up being a good quarterback and they get back to the postseason and they win a Super Bowl, then he'll be validated. But if they struggle to make it to the postseason for the next 4 years, and then they finally get there and they get bounced in the wild card weekend, and then finally, Belichick's like, all right, I'm done, or I've had enough, then I think a lot of people will say, you know what? It was Brady. It was more Brady than it was Belichick. Like, give Belichick his credit. He was a huge part, and Brady doesn't do it without Belichick. But a lot of people will start to say, you know what? It was Brady. It's a lot more Brady than it was Belichick. And then people will start going back to his Cleveland days and, what he looked like before Tom got there, and they'll start to bring that up. So we'll see. Great point, Storm. Atlas says, how about the decision to not go for it on 4th down and kick a 56-yarder in the rain? Is that good coaching? I don't know. I'm just saying that. We've talked about it already. I didn't agree with that either. Like, that to me, Belichick, I thought, outsmarted himself on that one. And again, he might have been right. If he makes the kick, they get on defense and they get to Brady and he forces a fumble, or they get a batted ball and it gets picked off and he gets the win, he'll look like a genius. But it's easy to second guess him now. But I didn't think in the moment, I didn't think it was the right decision. And, afterwards, after having a chance to let it simmer a bit, still don't think it was the right decision. Reed says, folk missed the field goal, and we said, yo, man, let's get out of here. Word to your mother. But hashtag vanilla ice, hashtag vanilla ice. Yeah, hell yeah, let's get out of here. We got our dub. Let's get out of here. It's wet. It's nasty. We got this game behind us because this was weighing on Tom. You know, let's get out of here. We got the dub. Let's go. Let's see. Reese says, you told me when we picked him that Tryon always gives max effort and plays with intensity. He had 2 sacks. You weren't happy with the pick. And I was like, why? This guy is exactly what you need. You need some more juice off the edge, and he's going to give you that. You know, and he's raw. So there's still a lot of learning for him to do, but the beauty of it is because he changed positions so late in his college career that he's still learning the nuances of the position. So it's a blank slate, and you can mold him into the type of player you want him to be. But you can't teach what he has. He's got explosiveness, he's got length, and he's got quickness, and he's smooth. Like, I didn't understand why you didn't love him from the jump, honestly. But he's growing on you, I can tell. Big Money Sonny says, Kingsford charcoal. I mean, Antonio Brown couldn't catch a cold today. You said that in your super chat as well. Reese says, I used to get mad at these types of wins, Lou. Then you told me something I'll never forget. Never apologize for winning. A lot of people still don't get that message, Reese. I'm glad you finally did after all these years. Never apologize for winning. Ugly. Never apologize for beating a team you're supposed to beat. Never apologize for stockpiling wins against lesser opponents. You could argue that your run to the Super Bowl last year started with you getting out of the bye week and beating a bunch of lesser teams, building your confidence for what ultimately became your Super Bowl run. Don't ever apologize for doing the things that you need to do, for ever winning games. Don't apologize for winning games or beating lesser competition. Let other people do that. You take the wins any way you can get them, by hook or by crook. I don't care if the officials impacted the game. If I get a win, I'm taking it, and I'm not giving it back, and I'm not apologizing for it. Ever. Reese says, sure, Matt Jones was good, but we're missing 4 starters. Whether you're missing 4 starters or not, that's not his problem. His problem isn't to say, well, the Buccaneers are missing 4 starters, so I shouldn't play well. No, you take advantage of that. And he did. He played well. Y'all came after him. I thought at some point he's going to make a mistake. He's going to fumble. He's going to get hit, not know some pressure is coming from the backside. He's going to fumble. It's going to change the game. He's going to throw a pick. You know, he almost did. He almost did. Devin White almost got him. And that was what I was waiting for. I said, he's going to make a mistake. And he doesn't have the mobility. I told you, he's not a superhero. He's not a superhero. And where you see it is when he's got to move. That's when you can force him into a mistake. And it almost happened. He got away with one there. Got another super chat. This one is from Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat, Metaphor. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Metaphor says, that's why the GOAT wears 12, not a hoodie. Facts. Excuse me. Facts. DCJ. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy DCJ writes, Tom didn't play good. He survived. He missed a lot. He did, but it was wet. I'm not looking to make excuses. Mac Jones had to play in the wet weather as well, but Tom was more aggressive. Tom pushed it down the field more. His numbers aren't going to look sexy, right? The last drive is, to me, a great microcosm of the game. Tom, it's 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8, whatever it was late in the game, 3rd and 4, whatever it was. Tom, on 2 straight plays, went to Antonio Brown down the sidelines and looked for the jugular vein. Tom could have went dink and dunk city like he's done for many years in New England and went surgical and found Cameron Brate over the middle of the football field, or found Mike Evans for a 5-yard completion or a 7-yard completion to move the sticks. He could have done that. Well, no, Tom wanted to watch those boys bleed out on the on the ground. He was looking for the jugular. Whereas Mac Jones was like, I'm going to be what Tom Brady used to be. I'm going to be surgical underneath. That's how he had 20 straight. He wasn't pushing it down the field. It was bloop, 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 dink and dunk, nickel and dime. And that's okay. His numbers are going to look great. But that's because he, as a wise man once told me, no risk it, no biscuit. He wasn't risking it tonight. And that's how and that's why the Patriots are going to be a team that doesn't score a lot of points, because they don't push it down the field vertically. They went out and signed Nelson Aguilar, and they're not even using him. The Raiders were bombing it to this dude 2-3 times a game last season. I don't know if Nelson Aguilar has a catch over 20 yards this season. I could be wrong on that. But again, that's why they're going to find it hard to score a bunch of points, because everything is short and underneath. So, anyway, I thought Tom did enough. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, doing enough. And I thought Tom did that. Thank you for the super chat, DCJ. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Fat American, thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, couple of unsung heroes for the Washington football team, the O-line and the offensive line coach and special teams coverage, and Nate Kazzer. Yeah. Special teams, I told you we got fiends. Fiends! Got to have them if you want to be special on special teams. And I was scared of Cordero Patterson, especially after we broke off the 101-yarder with DeAndre Carter for the touchdown. I knew he wanted to do something, and we weren't having it. We got too many fiends on special teams. It was good to see. And the offensive line has been outstanding. Outside of week one, offensive line has been rock solid all season long. Dejon Bell, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, DCJ, play me in Madden. I don't know nothing about that. I'm going to let y'all handle that. I do see this, though. We are 160 deep, essentially. And we got 47 likes. What the hell is up with that? That's nasty right there. Ugh, that's nasty. That's almost a 1-to-4 ratio, or a 4-to-1 ratio of viewers to likes. You know I like it to be 2-to-1. If you out there, you watching this, you haven't hit the like button, please bless the kid. I really do appreciate y'all. Evan Sussman, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Evan writes, all the Patriots are going to retire Tom. He says, are the Patriots going to retire Tom Brady's uniform? Yeah, they are. Eventually, I don't think anybody will be able to wear the number 12 in New England. I mean, the guy's the greatest football player maybe in the NFL's history. You're damn right they're going to retire his jersey. And I don't think anybody else will wear 12 in New England. I think that number is already off limits, honestly. I don't think anybody will ever wear 12. It's unofficial right now because he's still playing. You don't retire the jersey of a guy that's still playing. But I think everybody already understands that 12 is off limits in New England. You can't wear 12. So, obviously once he retires, that first year that he's retired, they'll bring him back to New England. They'll have a ceremony, and they'll retire his jersey, And they may wait until he goes into the Hall of Fame to synchronize it with that year. I don't know if you even need to wait. As soon as he retires that first year, you have a big game on primetime, you bring Brady out, and you go ahead and celebrate him, and you retire that number, and it never is to be worn again in New England Patriots history. See that coming at some point for sure. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Fat American writes, and that means special teams coverage. Dusty trash can need to go. Yeah, obviously I knew you weren't referring to Dustin Hopkins. You weren't talking about the entire special teams, because that would also include Dustin Hopkins, who was not great today. I understand. I know where you're coming from. I got you. Dejon Bell, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Dejon Bell writes, hit that like button, Louie. Hit that like button. Louie, a real one. I really appreciate that, Dejon. Y'all heard the man. Hit the like button. Really do appreciate y'all. Love the fact that we're up to 70 now, but we can do better than that. It's still 150 plus of y'all out there. Again, I need to be at least a 2-to-1 ratio. We're not quite there. We're almost there. We're not quite there. If you haven't hit the like button, please do so. Really do appreciate you. And I'm thanking you guys in advance for that. All right. So let's get to a few more comments. We passed the hour mark, but I'm going to knock down a few more comments and then we'll get out of here. See where we left off at. Reese says Sherman will be okay. Dude was a step slow. Just rust. Agree? Not really. He's old. He's not Dick Sherman of old. He's just old Dick Sherman. Okay. He's not the old Dick Sherman. He's just old Dick Sherman. So he's going to be a step slow. Some of that could be a little bit of rust. Man hasn't played football. He's not even in football shape. But I mean, it is what it is. He's not, Seattle Seahawks Dick Sherman anymore. He's not even San Francisco 49ers Dick Sherman. He's Tampa Bay Buccaneers Dick Sherman now. So yeah, he's getting a little long in the tooth. That's for sure. Gregory Lightbody says Washington O-line is actually good, and I'm impressed with Cosme. Yeah. I told you guys before the season started that I was convinced that they'd figure out the right five, but I said I love the depth. It's an unknown commodity because these five guys, whomever they were, we hadn't seen them together before. So that was an unknown commodity going in. But the thing that we did know is that this is the best depth we've ever had on the offensive line. And so I told you guys this at least 25 times this offseason. I don't know which five they're going to put out there, but whatever five they put out there, I'm going to be confident because we've got depth everywhere. And you're seeing that right now. Offensive line has been really good. Now, we haven't been facing the greatest of competition up front. The Giants aren't a world-beating pass rush. These Falcons aren't, and the Bills aren't either. When we saw a pass rush that could actually do something, we struggled in week one, but that was week one. Let's see what happens when we go up against the Saints because they can pressure the quarterback a little bit. So let's see what happens next week. Hank Midas writes, John Harbaugh savage for keeping that 100-yard rushing streak going. Oh, I missed the end of the game. I wanted to see if they were going to get it. So for those of you who don't know the background of what Hank is referring to, Broncos were playing the Ravens today. And the game was essentially over. It's 20-7 late in that ball game. Ravens got the game in hand. There's only a little bit of time left. I went to the bathroom. And so the Ravens had an opportunity late in the game. They were 6 yards away from having 100 yards rushing. And they've got this streak of 100 yards rushing in 42 consecutive games. The record is 43 by the Pittsburgh Steelers of the 70s, from 71 to 74. They rushed for 100 yards in 43 consecutive games over a 3-year span. The Ravens are currently tied with them now. They were one game behind them going into the game against Denver. On their second to last drive, they had 72 rushing yards. They had 93 rush yards, and they were at the 6-yard line. So they couldn't get 7. And Lamar threw it twice anyway, so it didn't matter. So I thought, okay, the Broncos had gotten the football. They were moving it down the field. The last thing I saw, Broncos had completed a long pass to Cortland Sutton, and there were 20 seconds left, and I just figured Broncos are going to run out the clock. So I figured they weren't going to keep the streak alive. I didn't even see what happened. So he must have run a play. They must have got the stop because the Broncos were throwing it, so they didn't run out the clock. And he must have ran a play instead of taking a knee. He must have run a play to get the yards over 100. And he probably knew somebody ran him those numbers because they got an analytics guy in Baltimore. They probably ran him numbers and said, Coach, you only need 6 yards for another 100-yard effort. Now, what would be petty is if he called timeout to get it done. Now, if he just ran one play and they got 8 yards, okay, cool. But if they got 5 yards and he called a timeout so that he could run it again and get 2, that's petty. That's petty. I gotta go back and watch the end of that game, the last 20 seconds, because I didn't watch the end of the game to see what the hell actually happened. Anyway, I digress. Thank you for that, Hank Midas. I didn't know how it ended. I thought they just fell short and the streak was over. Yikes. Reese says, Vita Vea is unreal, Lou. I remember when he picked him, you said, Reed, this guy plays ball. I called him a big ninja because he's light on his feet, but he's strong as all get out, man. This dude is dumb strong. Like, I remember how many Washington football team fans wanted Vita Vea in that draft. We took Daron Payne. I don't apologize for that, even though I didn't want Daron Payne. I didn't want Vita Vea either, but I would have been fine with Vita Vea, but I didn't want him. You know, I wanted the linebacker from Virginia Tech, Tremaine Edmonds. That's what I wanted. But Vita Vea is a beast, man. He is a beast. He is a man mover, if I've ever seen one in this league. I'll take a couple more comments and then we'll get out of here. Let's see. Let me make sure I didn't miss any. I didn't miss anything. All right. Fat American says, last one. You thinking Jack is the problem? Or I don't know. I think Jack is part of the problem, but I think it's more on the players than anything else, honestly. He's making calls that these players should be able to go out and execute on the field, and they're just simply not doing it. That's problematic for me, especially when everybody wants to blame Jack for everything, and it's not all Jack. Again, I can't stress to you how frustrating it must be for a coach to call cover 3 and to watch your safety come down on a route that has nothing to do with him and give up a deep ball for a touchdown. That has to be nauseating and infuriating. So I don't think Jack is the problem by himself. Could Jack do some things to make this defense even more competent? Sure, I think so. But I've already said this. If you can't get the basics correct, how am I supposed to trust you with anything exotic? If I can't call basic coverage and you go out and execute that, that would be hard for me to get past too. Sometimes in order to get the most out of your players, you need to simplify. Instead of doing more, you need to do less. What they tell running backs in the NFL is see less, see more. All right? See less, see more. What does that mean? If you see less, that means you see the hole in front of you. You see the cutback lane in front of you. You take advantage of it. When you see more, now you see the cutback lane. You see the lane in front of you, but you also see if I bounce this to the outside, that I can get an even bigger gain. So now you try to bounce it outside, and instead of you getting a 5 that was blocked, you bounce it outside, and a pursuit comes, and you get a gain of 1. You saw too much. See less, see more. Sometimes with defensive players, give them less, you get better results. You get more out of your defense. We'll see. Dejan Bell, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, screw that Vita Vea. Screw that. Vita Vea is the new Rikishi. He reminds me of that a little bit, because he's Samoan. Obviously, he was Samoan too. But anyway, he's a beast. Just like Rikishi was a beast. More like Yokozuna. Anyway, let's see. We'll take 2 more comments and we'll get out of here. I think we had left off at Rich right here. Rich says, this game was weird. I would have gone for it because that was too much time for Brady if he had made it. And you're going to have him kick a 56-yarder in the rain? Hurt? No, I'll go for that. Now, I don't know if he was actually hurt in the game. Maybe he was having issues with his plant leg, during the week, because he didn't show any real ill effects, on that kick or the kick previous to that. Even though the kick previous to that was from like maybe 27 yards out, it wasn't a long kick at all. But I go back to 56 in the rain. That's number one. That's a low probability in terms of making it. Your percentage is really low. And then number two is you're going to give Brady the ball back with 1 minute and 2 timeouts. Like, what do you think is going to happen exactly? What are you expecting to happen? So, yeah, I didn't think it made a lot of sense for him to go for it for those 2 reasons alone, But anyway, that's what he decided to do. Reese says, Golston is so underrated, Lou. I call him Silent Rage. Doesn't talk, doesn't flash, but produces. Yeah, he's like one of the glue guys and unsung heroes of your defensive line, man. Like, nobody talks about him, but he's as stout as anybody up front on that defensive line in terms of stopping the run. And he even got himself a sack. I know he doesn't get many of those, but he even got himself a sack. He had a little sack dance. You say it ain't no flash. He had a little sack dance, and Vita Vea was behind him doing a little sack dance with him. I don't know what the hell it was he was doing, but he had a little something planned for that. But, yeah, Golston, again, nobody talks about him, but he's been quietly one of the stabilizing forces up front and one of the constants. There have been a lot of pieces shifting around him. He's been one of the constants on that D-line for quite some time. So that's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. I thank you guys. Oh, I got another super chat here. This will take us out from Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Metaphor, who writes, final thoughts. 2-2. The champs are here. NFC East. We're going to have to play a lot better than that if we want to defend the crown. You know it. I know it. Did you see Ron's post-game address of the team in the locker room? Great stuff. He handed out 3 game balls. If you haven't seen it, I won't spoil it for you. I'll let you go watch it yourself. I'm pretty sure you have seen it already. But the first thing he said to the team was, we got to play better than that. We got a lot of work to do. But it's the same shit I was telling y'all after the game. We got a lot of work to do. A lot of shit we got to improve upon. But we won the damn game. And you know what? That's what matters most, is that you win. You're not going to beat better teams with this kind of performance. But you know what? We didn't play a better team. We played the Atlanta Falcons. So find a way to win. We play against the Buccaneers with the effort we played with today on the defensive side of football, or Green Bay or Kansas City. We're going to lose. Okay? We're going to lose, and it might not be close, depending on how our offense plays. But we weren't playing Kansas City. We weren't playing Green Bay. We weren't playing Tampa Bay today. We're playing the Atlanta Falcons. We got it done. So that's all that matters. So that's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. I look forward to chopping it up with you guys tomorrow. Patriots get the win in the Tom Brady Bowl, 19-17. Big win for the Buccaneers. They're 3-1 after the loss last week. Patriots dropped to 1-3 on the season. We'll see how they handle things moving forward. Gutsy performance on their end, but they fell short. Didn't love the decision by Belichick late, but they were going to lose the game anyway, if you ask me. Either way, Patriots fall in this game. Bucs get the win, 3-1 after the 19-17 victory over the Patriots. That's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T, signing off. Remember, get off the bench, get in the game, and kick it with me, your man, Louie T. Until next time, you guys have a good one. God bless, and good night.
Louie